The Formula 1 movie showed us incredible cinematography with all these cool racing shots, capturing the feeling of driving a Formula 1 car. Unlike the scenario, the movie featured very creative camera placement and movement, showing us angles we haven't seen in F1 racing before. The first time I saw the trailer, I wondered, why not make it in Unreal Engine? I have all the tools and small talented team which is willing to help create it, which resulted in this cool trailer-like video. And you guys crushed it with the comments asking for the breakdown. Hi there, post-process is here and welcome back to my channel. I finally have some time to create a breakdown of the recent F1 video which I posted, because I was quite busy this year working on these projects, on these ones too, and a little bit on that one. So don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel so I can invest more time in creating those fun and entertaining videos for you instead of doing actual work. Let's get into it. As usual, I start by gathering references and shots that I'm going to replicate. Because I hadn't seen the movie before I made this video, I was only able to replicate trailer shots, and the trailer is really packed with some action cool stuff. Some of the shots are simple and some are more complex, so in the end, not all of them actually made it into the final video. For references, I use Pure Ref application. It's very minimalistic, easy to use, and it's free. Helps to create a mood board of images which I'll rely on later during the process. Now let's move on picking car models. As the movie takes place in 2023-24 season, it's quite easy to find a lot of cars from this time. I made an assumption that the Apex GP Formula team was a Mercedes car, well, because of the logo. I purchased this model from TurboSquid. It had a really nice wireframe, was prepared for subdivision, and what's important, had seat belts, a helmet and a driver, which I'll use later on for other cars. This is our main car of high quality to be able to hold the close-up shots. As for other cars, well, you can find a bunch of F1 cars on CG Trader or Sketchfab for free from this guy. It turned out to be pretty much the same car, just with different liver textures. As there are currently 10 teams competing in Formula 1 and I didn't have time to make all of them, I just picked the ones that were available and that I could find first: McLaren, Red Bull, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Ferrari and the Apex GP team for the movie, which is our purchased Mercedes Model 2. And as every team has 2 drivers and 2 cars during the race, that already makes 12 cars on the racetrack, which in my opinion is more than enough for the movie we are making. The next part is texturing. If for the other team cars all textures came packaged, it was pretty straightforward. Create a simple shader for the whole car using the textures provided and just connect the corresponding pins into the material parameter slots. But the Apex GP was another story. When we started working on this video, only movie trailers were released, and there were no models with this team's livery available for purchase yet. We needed to create it from scratch. Thanks to my friend Amir at MedGoat Studio, we got our perfect livery, painting our purchased Mercedes model, and this is how it looks. The result speaks for itself. High quality asset that can even be shown in close-ups, which was the main purpose, as we have cameras attached to the car. I'm super happy with the results and I'm sending you my respects, my dude. That was brilliant work. When we have all our meshes prepared, it's time to rig them. This process takes a while, and as I always say, it doesn't matter what solution you use. If you're just starting with Unreal and want to save some buck, you can use my free rigging solution, which could be a little bit more tricky compared to other ones, but you can watch the video about it by clicking here or by the link in the description. But if you're a company or use Unreal on a constant basis, it is worth investing in the Cinematic Car Rig plugin, which I used for this video. You can purchase it on Fab and enjoy a lot of handy parameters and functions which this car rig has to offer. Also, you can get more advanced rig with my masterclass, in which you'll find an in-depth explanation of all the techniques I'm using for creating this cinematic, from lighting tips, advanced camera work, to rendering and post-production. You can find the link in the description too. Also, our rigging solution for this Formula 1 project was greatly modified with a custom suspension setup and front wing deformation. This type of custom on-demand rigging solutions we only offer for high-end production projects if required by client, and it comes with an additional price. Well, and to boast that there is nothing impossible for us and we lead the industry. We got our car meshes, rigs, and the one thing that's missing is a driver. Well, again, that's one thing that has to be created. As you know, there are no textures and no models of Sony Hayes suit and helmet available for purchase, so we had to take the matter into our own hands and create it. We decided to go all in and create a full, resizable, perfectly fitting racing suit for Metahuman. from sewing it to texturing and finally creating a high-quality asset for the fab marketplace fitting any Metahuman body type. As Metahuman Creator is now natively integrated into Unreal Engine 5.6, you can make it as well now. What you see is the Metahuman Racing Driver suit and Metahuman Editor, which you can purchase on Fab, link is in the description by the way. We made a custom model and set of textures with my colleagues Andrew and Irina. The suit and helmet model on Fab is the same used in the cinematic. You can make your own too by painting the suit in Substance Painter and just replacing texture cards in material slots to make any team driver. For me, the choice to make the driver Metahuman was clear. You can create them in-engine now, they come rigged, driver height and parameters can be adjusted, and they assemble quickly now compared to how it was done before through the browser. And Metahuman is free compared to purchasing a set of high-quality driver models and then rigging them for Unreal. And now we have this handsome guy ready to drive our Formula 1 car. Oh yeah, we're actually missing one important thing though. A place for racing. Making a believable racing track is the most complex task to complete, in my opinion. You can purchase some of them, but the selection is pretty limited. You can find a few on TurboSquid, CG Trader, Overtake GG or other websites, which doesn't really make the process easier unfortunately, because you still need to prepare them for Unreal, import it, create materials, shaders, textures and so on. So I will share with you the best tools which I use for this purpose. Luckily for me is I worked on a lot of automotive and racing related projects and purchased a lot of assets from TurboSquid and CG Trader, and I have the racetrack construction kit from Fab, which I believe is the best available tool with a procedural racetrack generation. I got some parts from the websites I mentioned before, dressed them up with assets that I already had, and got a lot of help from my colleague Andrew for modeling and texturing some stuff for me. For materials, I used Megascans and changed their color to different parts of the track. I used some models I already had and focused only on the parts that will be in the frame. Creating the environment is very time-consuming, but you get the idea. Download or purchase some track, dress it up with good materials and high-quality assets, add details on the places where you are planning to film, and that's pretty much it. That just takes shit ton of time. That's why I didn't record that while I was preparing it. I don't have the capacity on my disk drive. Now let's light our scenes. That will be fairly quick, as there is one simple method of doing that: HDRIs. I get all my HDRIs from polyhaven.com, as I believe there is nothing better than a real sky for a proper lighting. Adding HDRI to a scene just makes it feel more natural, as it fills the scene with the skylight and color. When we have the location, animating cars with cinematic car rig is pretty easy. You just draw a spline and the cars go vroom. Super easy. Even with so many cars in the frame, performance is still performing. Hats off to this God's creation. Thanks to a lot of handy features in the rig, I was able to animate a car spin with a whole car rotation parameter and add steering manually if needed for more visual impact. In most of the shots, cars are animated on spline, which is part of the rigging plugin. But the main thing is camera work. Also, for the sake of keeping this video entertaining and short, I will not be going into the details, otherwise it will take, I don't know, about 30 hours long. So, which will make this video super boring. Camera animation in Unreal is really a broad topic, so I have a dedicated video about that, so I will not be wasting your time right now. You can watch it by clicking on the link in the description. Now a little bit about character animation. Character walking and throwing animations were taken from Actor Core and Mixamo. Thanks to Unreal retargeting, it was super easy to map those animations to Metahuman. Retarget, save animation, apply to the body, and that's it. Works really well. Let's talk about destruction simulation. To be honest, nothing much here. I've made camera animation, sent the scene with the camera and the car model to my colleague Julian, who crashed it in Houdini, exported the crash to me, and also some smoke VDBs. I slapped that into the scene with sparks, smoke, and all that good debris stuff. I'm not a professional in Houdini and I have no clue how he did that. The only thing that matters is that it looks good, I know how to make it work in Unreal Engine, and we tested out this pipeline which even doesn't affect render times. And yeah, this sequence was rendered in Lumen. Speaking of rendering, by the way, it was a combination of path tracing and Lumen with ratio of like 60:40. Path tracing versus Lumen. I don't remember every shot exactly which one is which, but with Lumen
sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
And because renders in path tracing were also blazing fast, why should I bother? Yes, it requires more samples to get a cleaner image, but does it really matter if the quality is good and render times aren't that long? Those few shots were also done in Lumen, that I remember for sure, because of the lighting and dark mode setup. It looked cool enough, and past race really struggled a little with the high quality trees, which I slapped into this part of the scene. I think it was just taking too much time, so the choice was obvious: Lumen Render. Nothing special in render settings, rendered as usual in EXR sequence with a Cryptomate, Object IDs plugin in Unreal Engine, to be able to adjust paths separately during the color grading stage. Also, in the intro of this video, I sneaked one of my renders in between of real movie footage, so leave a comment if you noticed that, or even if you didn't. As usual, DaVinci Resolve is the best tool for color grading. Version 20 natively supports Cryptomate. These are special layers that 3D software generates, which you can use as masks to adjust specific parts of an actor or material without tracking masks or creating your own. It's default part of the post-production house workflow, as it's super useful for compositing and grading. It helps you work more precisely and avoid re-rendering when you need to change a tone, brightness, or anything else on particular object during post-production. In Resolve, I tried to match the film look with partial success. It has some sort of mild, semi-documentary look without heavy grading apart from a few scenes. I really enjoyed grading it and I love how it looks. Color grading is really important and makes your renders stand out, and it doesn't matter what the software you're using for producing CGI images. So don't underestimate color grading, as it can dramatically change the look and feel of your renders, or add some details that is harder or impossible to do in Unreal. Now let's move to compositing. Some things in Unreal drive me nuts, like Niagara particle system. It's really hard to make sparks behave the way you want, especially when a moving object like in a Formula 1 car is flying at 300 km/h. Making sparks stay visible for more than a split of a second is really hard to achieve. I've tried it before and there are just issues with that. It's either not visible or it appears too late. It can't keep up with the car's speed. It's just faster to send for compositing rather than trying to deal with the Unreal shenanigans. And that's what my colleague Victor did. Sparks, some smoke, flares, and all the tiny details that help enhance the render. The stuff that wouldn't be possible, or at least would be a huge time sink, in Unreal. And then he exported again the XR sequence for me to copy the color grade from the graded shots. And this is the final stage before handling files for editing and sound design. Editing was done by Ultron Films, and he basically saved me, not only by helping push this video to a much better final result, but by making a little story trailer out of it. I believe the editor or editing director is always working under pressure. Their job is to make story out of the footage that I randomly generated. And I hate editing. It's really hard for me to do and I can't force myself. It's really just a struggle for me, and even making this video too. Ultron Films did a great job. His friends at Ant Studios did the sound design, and this whole team effort made for a blast of a cinematic. Some of you actually asked about the sound design breakdown, and if Ant Studios decides to create one and post it on YouTube, I will leave the link in the description too. Now, let's watch the final result. As you can see, Unreal is more than capable of delivering stunning results when all the team members are experienced and know their craft. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Cheers.